How are you?
Hi, Trae. Good. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah. This is one of those issues that you've been on for a really long time. Just give us an overview about what's going on, just for those who may not have seen my first interview with you last season.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to differentiate the Iranian American community from that council you mentioned because we are on different paths than some organizations. But the Iranian American community has been marching, and Converge has been with us, and our African American brothers and sisters and Ukrainian brothers and sisters have been with us and joining us in these rallies to speak about what's happening in Iran and also how that's a local issue here as well, because we are also going through many situations that have made this a local issue, and our families are there, and activists are being either attacked, retaliated against, just to stop us from speaking our minds and tell our story. So I see many organizations to try to advocate on moderate but not very realistic approach on what's going on in Iran, right? It's women and men, it's rich and poor, it's everybody coming to the streets and getting killed. And we feel like there's a lot of voices that are being missed in this process, with those of us that I feel like I have a responsibility to help echo that voice of the Iranians, which these organizations may not be you know supporting or effectively and realistically echoing. I mean, I understand they have to raise money, they have to look like they're building an organization, or they've built an organization that's effective, but how about the boots on the ground? How about the people that are actually directly being affected by these, right? So we have been trying to help echo that voice and bring the community together. There's so many leaders in the community, so many activists that have united like never before to try and amplify these voices. So it's been a great opportunity for us to reconnect.
Well, I mean, this is something that I think does take a full effort. I mean, anytime we're talking about understanding how international issues are really impacting us here, it's important that we have local voices to really elevate that. And I really appreciate that you've been on the ground doing that and bringing a lot of folks into this. I mean, Sahar, you're talking about, folks from all kinds of ethnic backgrounds understanding the importance of this in their own world. And I think that that right there is where we can begin to kind of break the ideology here in America that, well, if it's not happening on our soil, is it really going to be impactful to us? And that's something that we really have to understand. But it's through voices like yourselves and lived experience like yours where we can really get that glimpse of that. As you've been building out this amazing community of folks who have been organizing and protesting, tell us a bit about how that message has been resonating with them.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to say, I am only one of many people that have stepped up and have been trying to speak up for those people, right? So, we're just building the community together to uh, connect with our non-Iranian Americans, non-Iranians as well, right? Because that is also important. Also, you mentioned about how it's impacting us here. For example, many of us have been advocating for legislation to sanction the parliamentarians in Iran that voted to execute our youth, and 2 days later they were walking down the streets of New York. Do Americans really want that? We don't.
Mm.
We are not advocating for immigration policy or for people to come here. We are saying do not allow them, the government officials, to come here when they voted to execute our youth 2 days earlier inside Iran, right? So it is impacting us. They are coming here, and we want to feel safe in our community in America. We want to be able to have our freedom of speech. And many people that are organizing these rallies, that are advocating for legislation, have been sending that message as well. Like the MASA Act has been introduced in Congress. That's a bipartisan issue. That's a bipartisan bill, right? Because this is a bipartisan issue. It is a humanitarian issue. It's a human rights. It's a women's rights. And also understanding that this is not just women fighting, men and women shoulder to shoulder are fighting. And we here as a community, I believe, have a responsibility to help echo that voice and to send a message out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we kind of talked on that when I first connected with you about how this isn't just a woman issue, and I appreciate the fact that this is something that a lot of folks can stand behind. Because when you talk about human rights violations, that is impactful to every human, right?
Mhm.
And so I appreciate that. That's really the foundation of how you're making, these kind of connections. When you think about next steps and next moves, I mean, what does this look like as you guys continue to fight for these human rights? How can people stay engaged and informed in this work that you all are doing?
I mean, I believe we believe that the Iranian people uh, should and must control their faith and build the nation. What we can do here is to not make it easier for that government to survive and legitimize their actions, right? So the next steps for us is advocating on legislative uh, process, on legislative action. And for example, I mentioned the MASA Act, right? Advocating on that, that's sanctioning the supreme leader, the president, their appointees, their cabinet members, and not allow them to freely come here to this country and block their properties, and all these things that can be done to delegitimize that government. I mean, their um, IRGC is already a terrorist organization, and the leader of that organization is the supreme leader. Why is he not sanctioned? And so, because it's a bipartisan bill, I really support it, and I would ask anyone to just pick up the phone. We have the president pro tempore of the Senate, Senator Murray, in this state, and it's really important that we reach out. And it'll take 2 minutes. I call their office and say, listen, my name is Trae, and I support the MASA Act, and I suggest you do too, because we are standing in our Iranian brothers and sisters, and we want to support them. So what are you doing to support them as well? So this can take 2 minutes, but it's very impactful, especially when it's coming from the non-Iranians.
Yeah, this is important. And I'm so glad that you could come here today to make sure that we're all engaged in this. And I stand alongside you all. They'll be getting a call from me for sure, because we have to make these actions, feasible for a lot of folks. And I get it. People are working, people get busy, but let's take the time to be engaged and involved. I also, before I let you go, I got to give you a second. If folks want to connect with you, if they want to learn more, if they want to dive a little deeper into this issue or find out, how they can be there the next time you guys have a rally or a protest, look right there in that camera. Let folks know how to connect personally with you so that they can really be engaged in the local efforts that you all are creating here.
Thank you so much. Yes, so um, my Instagram account is Sahar Amini, SAGHAR AMIINII. And but there's also many other groups that are advocating here. There are organizations, and I try to share their information on my page as well. And so, from there, there's rallies, there's legislative action, there's resolutions and proclamations, and there's so much that anyone can just take 2 minutes to do. And our main goal, our main objective is to build a community around all of this, and to expand our community, and just to be united, and be the voice of people that are not being represented correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sahar, thank you so much for being with me again today. And as I said to you last time, stay engaged with us here on the Day with Trae as much as we can. We want to help to be a conduit of information and really make sure that people are engaged and informed about this issue. Thank you for being on the front lines and for bringing people to this. So please, as updates come, let me know. We'll make sure the folks know about it. Thanks so much for
Thank you.
being with me.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being honest from day one. You have been very supportive. You have, Jordan has been there, your staff, Deontay, yourself, all of you guys have been just amazing and very supportive. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. There we go.